Hello again. We're going to discuss these 4 examples on the use of the distributive property. It says use the distributive property to write an equivalent variable expression. And here's example 1. We said that when we have the distributive property, this is a multiplication. 4 times x minus 2. How do we do the distributive property? You take the number that's outside the parentheses and you distribute that number to each one of the numbers inside and you multiply it. So 4 times x and 4 times 2. Okay? Now, there have been some confusion with this minus sign. Okay? This minus sign has a lot of people confused. So I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing this and you choose the way that's easiest for you. The first way to do it is just take 4 times x, and that gives you 4x. You take this minus, and you just bring it down, and then you multiply 4 times 2, and that gives you 8. And you end up with 4x minus 8, okay? Another way to do it is, if I rewrite this multiplication, 4x, and wherever you see a minus, you can change that to a plus. And remember, you can change it to a plus and change the sign of the number that's next to that minus. So I've rewritten the original expression 4 times x minus 2 as 4 times x plus negative 2. And now when you use the distributive property, you get 4 times x, 4x, plus, and 4 times negative 2, negative 8. Now, look at these 2 answers. 4x minus 8, 4x plus negative 8. Are they the same answers? Yes, they are. How do I know? Well, I know that any minus I can change to a plus as long as I change the sign of the number that's next to it, which is adding the opposite. I can change a minus into addition of the opposite number. So then you have the same exact answer, just 2 different ways of writing the answer, okay? I hope this is not confusing. Choose one of the 2 methods, okay? And once you choose one of the 2 methods, stick to it. This is probably the better method, where you change all the minuses to pluses, and it'll never fail, okay? Let's do example 2, 3y plus 9. No minuses here, so I shouldn't have a problem. 3 times y, 3y, plus, 3 times 9, 27. And you're done. Remember, we cannot add 3y and 27 because they are not like terms. Like terms are terms that have the same exact variable. Constant terms are also like terms with each other. But since these 2 terms do not have y, both of them don't have y, so I can't add them together. Same goes for this one. Let's do the 3rd example. Here I have a minus. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite 2 times 3. I'm going to change the minus to a plus and change to the opposite of r, which is negative r. Okay? Now you take negative 2 times 3. Remember, negative times positive is negative. And 2 times 3, 6. Plus, and then negative 2 times negative r. Remember, negative times negative is positive. 2 times r is 2r. Positive, because negative times negative is positive. And that's your final answer right here. Okay? Now let me show you, if I hadn't changed the minus to a plus negative, I should still get the same answer. So I'm going to do this one again without changing this minus to a plus. Okay? So I have negative 2 times 3 minus r. If I don't change it, you get negative 2 times 3, which is negative 6, minus, minus, and then you get negative 2 times r, which is negative 2r. Okay, because negative times positive is negative. And you see what happens here, minus negative? Anytime you have minus negative, you can change that to a plus 2r. Okay, so this is just another method of doing the same thing and getting the same exact answer. I don't want to confuse you. I just want you to see that you have other options of working with it. Work with the one that's more comfortable for you. And I can imagine that just changing the minuses to pluses and changing the negative to the opposite value is better. It's a better option. It's less confusing. But I do want you to see that there are other options. For example 4, notice that the difference here in example 4 is that we usually see that number in front of the parentheses, not behind the parentheses like we have it here. But it's the same thing, okay? I don't have any minuses. I have s plus 20 multiplied by negative 7. So we distribute the negative 7. So negative 7 times s, negative 7 times s is negative 7s, because negative times positive is negative. Then we have a plus, plus, and negative 7 times 20, negative times positive is negative, and 7 times 20 is, well, 7 times 2 is 14, and a 0, 140. And here's your answer. I hope this helps you. I will make another video with the distributive property.